Hello, everybody. How are you today? I am so happy to be here with you. We are in a wonderful Wednesday event with Take 5 over on Facebook, and I'll be streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you see any comments of that you don't see in comments you can see, and I'm responding to them, that would be why. So I'm so glad to have you here today. We're going to have a lot of fun. All the people in Tank 5 do some different things, so you never know what you're going to get. Following me today is going to be, who is going to follow me? Oh my goodness, I think it's Susan. Let me look real quick. Oh, I can't believe I did that, you guys. Let me see real quick. Who is that, right? You never know. Oh my goodness. Let me see who is gonna be our person following me. Hey, Mary. Hello. Hi, Tracy. Good morning, everybody. So glad that you're all here with me. This is gonna be a lot of fun. We've kind of got a theme of love, since today is Valentine's Day. How could we resist doing a love theme? But that doesn't mean that it has to be romantic. There's lots of ways that we can express love. There's lots of people we love in our lives. So it doesn't have to be just that. Oh, it's Jeanie. No, it's not Susan. It's Jeanie from Jeanie's Palette. And she's going to be coming up following me. And Jeanie's always got some fun things. She does a lot of painting. She does paint pours. Lots of fun things, you guys. And let me get back here. I'm going to open this up so I can make sure I can see the comments, because it's not any fun to do live if we can't see the comments, right? I think that's probably always true. But we're going to do a fun little painting today. I always like to say I do fun art, not fine art. And, I mostly do painting, paper crafting, but I like to throw in some, fun little paintings. And this kit is actually over in my Shopify shop. You can find it on my link tree on Facebook. And so that's where you can get the kit. You can watch along. It's super easy. You could just draw it yourself if you wanted to. That wouldn't be a problem. And hang on one second here. I'm going to shoot this over to somewhere else here and get that in where some other people can see, and then I'll be ready to go. And I hope you guys are doing great today. Hi, Martha. What are you guys doing today? Tell me what you've got going on. Hello, and there's our friend from YouTube. Is it Luis? I would kind of think from your name it's Luis. Let me know if that's correct. If it's not, you must say it Lewis. But let me know if I am right with that, because it's never fun when people call you by the wrong name, right? We always like to make sure that we call our friends by the right name. So I'm going to move me down here to the desktop. Hi, Brittany. Okay, thanks, Mary. Okay, so she's shared us out to some more places. I almost hit the finish button, you guys. That would not, I'd have to start all over. Oh my goodness. Let me get something off here. All right. Now I've got, this is the little kit I have in my shop. Oh, let me put it down here so it's not crinkly right in your ears. Martha's going to be crafting and making a chickie dinner. It's not leftovers. Oh my goodness. Does that mean you do leftovers a lot? Let me move my coffee over. So here's our little drawing for today. Or our little thing we're going to do today. And, oh my goodness, it's a good thing I got this sitting here. I took my plate I usually use for my painting, and I took it in the other room. I like to use it. It's actually just a disposable plate, but what I do is I cover it with press and seal, and because I can get it to stick right on there. And then when I'm done, all I have to do is just take it off, and it's cleaned up. So we're going to start out with some white. And when you get something that has little packets like this, be sure and kind of knead them. that would be a way to do it. You know, instead of, you can't shake the paint bottle, they're not going to shake. So what you can do is you can just knead them. And if they had anything that needed to be mixed up, you know, then you could do that. Now, I was already using these earlier today, so I put my bottle, white. It seems like I use way more white than anything else. So I am just going to lay that to the side. I do have a bottle of white out. I'm not sure, I might not need red. And then we are going to use some yellow. Oh my goodness, you guys. I hope I've got enough left in here. I might have to turn around and grab some other colors. That's probably enough though. And then a tiny bit of brown. Or actually, we're going to need brown for several things. I'm going to just put that out there. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use these little brushes here. And this is kind of a little medium-sized brush. This is probably about 3/4 of an inch. Probably about, yeah, this is about 3/4 of an inch. So this is a nice size, especially for these little paintings. This is just an 8x10 painting. And you know, I really kind of like this size because as you know, if you have so many paintings, one, especially if they're kind of seasonal or you want to, you know, put them out, if they're too big, I mean, there's only so many paintings that you can put in where you live, right? But if they're kind of small, it, you know, it allows you to sit it on a bookshelf, or, you know, you can just, you know, put it in a smaller place to hang it, right? So that's kind of, you know, that's kind of a fun thing to do. Hi, Becca. Hi, Jeanie. Our other Jeanie is here. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to do these lines that go like this, and it's going to be kind of striped. But I don't care if it is like, they don't have to be like, what am I trying to say? They don't need to be nice and neat. We don't mind if they're going to be kind of messy. Let's think of them as messy lines. So it kind of has the illusion of lines. And if it is, you know, really, if it gets straight, you know, that's how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a little bit of this yellow over here and some white. And we're just going to mix up that. And I want to make sure I have enough to use for what we're going to do for the stripes. Okay. And then I'm going to put a touch of brown in. And just kind of make it more of a, we're going to just kind of tone it down so the yellow isn't so bright. Be kind of more of a creamy color. And we'll just, and I think that's going to work. It looks like I've got plenty. So now I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to start putting it on. And look at that pretty color. And I don't really mind if it gets onto these other, like over the flowers. I don't care if it does that, because the way that the flowers are, it's going to be easy, you guys, to just put them on. Basically, they're circles, and so that's what we're going to do. And I'm just going to, as long as I've got the paint out, I want to, and it's a canvas, so I'm going to, you know, wrap this around to the edges like that, okay? And, you know, you want to try and, if you can, get these lines covered up. Although, we'll see how that goes. And if they show through, you know, that's okay too. But I'm going to try and leave my paint a little bit thicker so I can kind of mix it. I want it to be able to kind of blend better. So, you know, and we'll just kind of push it down here. Because like I said, it's not going to, it'll be fine. How many of you like to do, how many of you have been to like one of those paint and sip parties or something like that, where you just kind of did a fun painting? Hey, Melanie, how are you doing? And Becca, now I don't even remember if I said hello to you. Hello. And then be sure that while you've got this color out, be sure and kind of wrap it around the edge. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try and get it on kind of thick so I can blend it with the next color as we do the other stripe. So, you know, that is, I think that is one of the hardest things for me, is to make sure that I've got enough paint of like a single color I might be using. You know, and when you're kind of mixing, if you're using paint right out of the bottle, it's no big deal because it's just, you know, right out of the bottle. But when you start mixing them, and you know, that's kind of fun to mix them up because then you've got your own color, you've done the whole thing, and it's just kind of a little bit more interesting. You know, it certainly will work just straight out of the bottle. Oh, there we go. I think my husband just got home. He's off today and had a dental appointment. So I think, oh my goodness, you guys. I have a little Maltese, and she is just, she's a barker. And years ago, I had a little Pomeranian, and so was she. My granddaughter said, so what, are you drawn to the ones that bark? Not really. Hang on, I'm going to mute you guys and holler at him to, oh, he let her out. Okay, and then we'll do this one over here. Oh, you guys, I'm getting hot in here. But you know what? I kind of don't want to turn my fan on because I'm afraid if I turn my fan on, my paint will dry out too fast. It's always something, right? So we're just gonna, you know, just put this on, pull it around the edges, like that. It seems kind of funny to put the whole design on and then cover it up, but it does give you, you know, an idea of what you're doing and where you're going, right? So we'll just put that on. And yeah, I mostly do paint, you know, a lot of paper crafting, but I do like to do some painting. When I was out of high school, I did some little miniature oil paintings, and that was so much fun. I really had fun doing that. And then, you know, it's time. Now we're going to mix some more white in here, lighten this up, so we kind of have another color, so to speak. And now we're just going to go in between here. Like I said, we'll just kind of see if we can't get it to blend a little bit. You know, I mean, and no, it's already too dry. But you know, just, you know, kind of swipe it on here. And that's, you know, that'll be kind of fun. Like I said, it can just be kind of messy. Oh, I didn't get too close to that heart up there. Okay. No, it's a no painting zone. Dogs, yes. Oh, they are barkers, aren't they? Yes, I tell you, Becca, anybody with, you know, that's got a bunch of dogs or something, that's how they are. I did find out, now, so she's a Maltese, and I was reading something one day that was talking about, there's another little dog that looks a lot like a Maltese, and it's called a Havanese. And they say they have a very similar temperament to Maltese, but I guess they're not barkers. And I'm like, oh, you know what? And it wasn't like we went out searching for her. Somebody was moving to an apartment, and my daughter overheard this gal at work talking to her mom, and she goes, yeah, I'll try to, you know, find somebody to see if we can, you know, take the dog. They had a dog and a cat. They were going to take the cat with them to the apartment, but not the dog. And my daughter doesn't even know what the dog is, and she goes, I'll take it. So she is truly a lover of dogs, most animals actually. And so that's how we ended up with her, and I begged and begged to have her. I had decided I missed my little dog. I had just recently before that told my husband, you know, I kind of miss coming home and having somebody happy to greet me here. But oh my gosh, I don't necessarily need somebody that is just like crazy when you get home. And that's kind of how she is. And I guess when I am gone, I guess we have bonded because I understand that when I am gone, she will howl. So if I'm gone for several days, you know, she kind of howls. She's a howler for the first day. And I'm like, I thought they were always exaggerating. I'm going, no way. No, I got to hear it. I think somebody went ahead and did a recording for me so I could get a chance to experience that. And yeah, she actually howls when I first leave. And then sometimes when I am like getting ready for something, I finally have decided that the reason she kind of acts kind of goofy sometimes is she's not sure that I'm not going somewhere, like packing up to leave. And she will start doing all this crazy stuff. And I finally decided that's what's going on, is she thinks I'm leaving. So, you know, if you're packing up to do something or taking a bunch of stuff with you, you know, even for the day, for whatever you might be doing. So, okay, there, I've kind of, you know, I was kind of able to blend that a little bit. And, you know, and maybe we could even put, let's see if we can add a little bit of that darker color kind of into some of these. It's all about playing around, you guys. It's just about playing around. Maybe we can add a little bit of lighter color over here. And some of this is going to be covered up here. I didn't care if that was covered up. But, okay, so it's nice and messy. So we've got that going for us. Okay. So Martha says, oh, okay, so, yeah, right, Jeanie? I love yellow. I've even had places where, I know when we were in Minnesota, I had painted our family room kind of a creamy yellow color. It was on, the windows were like on the north side of the house, and it was just so dark in that room, and I loved it. It just seemed like it was a very happy, you know, happy color. So let's see. Melanie from Painting Crafty says, were your miniature paintings landscapes? Yes, and then sometimes they had some little people in them, but it was like real easy little people. Like maybe it was kind of from the side or even from the back, and maybe they had a hat on or something, and so it wasn't detailed where you had to do faces or anything. And some of them were so small that, you know, it's really interesting when you paint things that are so tiny and they're miniatures. You know, it only takes like a little stroke of something, and I had all these tiny brushes, and you could just do a tiny little stroke, and, you know, there you had a shadow, or, you know, or a tiny bit, and it was, you know, a highlight. And it was really a lot of fun. I really learned a lot from that. And then, you know, life happens, and I didn't do that anymore. But I really did enjoy that. It was a lot of fun. So, you know, I feel like when I started doing some of these paintings, you know, it kind of brought back that love of painting after so many years. Martha says she has a Chihuahua who thought she was she had a Chihuahua that thought she was the size of a German Shepherd, but a diva. Yes, our Pomeranian thought she was, you know, she was a giant dog. And we had a neighborhood group of mailboxes. You know how they'll have a whole group of mailboxes, and they'll just be, you know, in one location in the neighborhood, and that was where it was. And we had a path that went around one side and the back of our house, a walking path for the neighborhood. And then our mailboxes were on that path. The path crossed and went across the house from you know, across the street from our house. And so she would see people all the time, and, you know, and it just drove her insane. But the worst was a family that had they had a chow. And when those people would walk, and they walked their dog regularly along the path, and when she would see that dog, she would just, you know, come unglued. It's just like, oh my word. And then, you know, and the dog would bark at her too. The dog didn't like her. And it was so funny because they said their dog did not do that with anybody else but her. Just like, well, no other dog probably treats that dog like that. But yeah, they kind of think they're hot stuff, don't they? Those tiny dogs, they have a big attitude. Oh, yeah. Yeah, lots of little dogs. They certainly have unconditional love, don't they? They're so sweet. Okay, so now for our stripe, we are going to pull in, we're just going to pull a little pile of this over, and we're not going to need very much. We're just going to paint right over our flowers right here, okay? Is it a kit? Yes, I have a kit for it. It's at in my Shopify store, Melanie. And so we're just going to put some white in here. And we don't need a whole lot, but this is so bright. And we are going to add just a touch of this brown. I'm going to try and get it over here and tone it down. And that's still, I want a little bit more brown. And this, you guys, a lot of times I just have these very primary colors and show you how to mix them for, you know, for what the color is. Okay, I think I like that color. Oh my goodness, look what I've done over there. Did I have that on my hand? Probably. And so now we're just going to go ahead and do our stripe across here. And it's going to be, I'm going to get some more paint here. And it doesn't have to be, we're going to paint our roses right over, or our flowers, they're not roses. We're going to paint right over. And that's okay if, you know, it doesn't have to be, I really like when, you know, paint, you've got all the colors mixed together and you can see them. I think it just adds so much more interest to the piece. Now this one, it doesn't really matter because we're going to cover so much of it up. But you want to, when you're doing this blue color, make sure that it is a color that, you know, looks good with these buttery, whatever color. And you know what? You don't have to make these colors. You know, use this and do the background something else. Maybe you could do, you know, pink stripes, or maybe your stripes are blue and the band is yellow. Who knows? But what you want to do is make sure that it has like the contrast is nice and that your colors look okay together. I had done one of these and the blue, I really got the blue too blue. It was too bright. And so then I'm kind of pulling in other colors. Like when I'm done, I'm looking at it and I'm just kind of pulling some colors over the top and toning it down. Because it just, all of a sudden it looked like, and I mean, even though you can't see all of it, it was just so, I don't know, glaring. It was a glaring contrast. Maybe that's a good way to say it. Let's see. Jeanie says, yeah. Okay, so Becca has Yorkies. Jeanie says her dogs get suspicious if you're hustling around pet. Yes, they do, don't they? They know something's going on. They aren't sure what, but yeah, they are suspicious. Jeanie, you probably pack up and leave home sometimes, and they don't like that, do they? I know Jeanie had some things over the holidays. I think she had a, what am I trying to say? Like a craft event, or like a craft fair or something. So I'm sure you did a fair amount of packing up for that. I'm sure that's a big pack up. Martha says she loves pink, purple. You forget greens and yellows. Okay, I'm so sad that I got that on there. You know what I should have done? And here's something you can do. It might be too late for that. If I would have done this when I saw it, it might have worked better. You can kind of use a wet wipe and pull a little bit of that off. It's going to take it clear down to the canvas though. Let me go back. Do we have enough of that? Let's see. Here's a tiny little brush. Let's see if I can get enough to cover it. That's too... I'm almost going to have to recreate my color, you guys. At least a little bit. Let's see if we can get that kind of covered up. Okay, that is not as yellow. See, this is a problem if you don't have enough of a color mixed up and you have to go back and do something. This is like one of those things. Don't do this. But you know what? Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Maybe we'll kind of make this like as if it was another messy stripe over here on the edge, like that. There, that's not too bad. It's almost like a little bit better than having that blue sticking out. Anyway, you know, it's like, which is the worst part? Which thing are you going to do? Are you going to kind of mismatch what's already on there? You're going to cover up the blue spot? You're going to leave the blue spot? You know, you just got to decide what it is you're going to do, right? Okay, so now then we're going to do, let's do our heart. And we're going to use some red. Let's see, where's our red? We're going to put some red out here. And see, like I said, these are pretty primary colors. It makes it easy to mix them up. Now, I don't always do a lot of sticking my brush in the water and cleaning it off. I think, you know, having your paint or having different colors in your brush kind of lends to, you know, bringing different things into the painting and the paint colors. So we're going to put some brown in here. And by putting some brown in, it's going to make kind of a darker red. I think we can get by without even using any black, you guys. So we're just going to do that. We might have to do this twice. We might have to do 2 layers of the red. There's a lot of paint colors that are, they kind of have a little bit of transparent, or they're a little bit translucent when you put them on. And it just kind of depends on your paint. We're just going to kind of go around the edge, and if you kind of stand this brush up kind of on the edge, you know, that works. So I'm not going to worry that it doesn't cover it all up. I should have done this. One thing I like about doing these tiny little canvases is then you can flip them all around. I like to do that. And you can even do that with, you know, about even like an 11 by 14 is still pretty easy to do that. But it just makes it kind of easy to get all the way around. And there's some ways I like to, you know, paint. Like it just makes it a little bit easier, you know, that doing it that direction. And you know, everybody has, some people use way more paint than others. Some people, you know, it's kind of a lighter touch. And there's no right or wrong way to do that. However you do it, that's kind of your style. I'm probably one to put less on. I don't know why. I have no rhyme or reason for that. Okay, so we're just gonna let that go, and then we've got these up here, and it's got these little ribbons. I'm gonna put those on. And if you've got more paint, it's easier to get a crisper line. So we're just gonna run those up there. Okay. I'm having a hard time getting that one kind of crisp. Okay, there we go. Now, while we've still got this red in here, hi Deborah, I'm good. Oh, hi Jet, how are you doing? I'm doing very good, Deborah. How about you? So now with the red, I'm going to take the red, got red on our brush already, and now I'm going to pull it into this, some white over here. And that is too white. I still want some red. And then we're just going to do some circles. So we're going to do one circle here that kind of comes, it's kind of where kind of goes over this, and just kind of, you know, swirl it around. And it doesn't have to be an exact circle. That's not what we're going for. So we're going to do that one. We're going to do one over here. We can still see partly where it was. So we're just going to do that one. Make sure you've got paint on there. Okay, and it's okay if it's, you know, got a little bit of, doesn't have to be smooth. We want some, you know, difference in our colors here. And then let's put another big one like right here. Maybe even bigger than that first one. And another one we can put up in here. And don't get these too light. You know, because we're going to put more white on them. And so if you've got a darker background, then as you layer your other things on top, it's going to allow the other things to show a little bit better. And then we'll put one over here. Okay, so, and you might even take a little bit more red and do kind of around some of the edges here to differentiate between where their edges are. Like that. There we go. Because if they're all the same color, you know, it makes it hard to see where one stops and one begins. And I'm going to turn this because I've got the dark color over here. Whoops. Okay, well, that's okay. All right, so now we're going to put in a little bit more white. Add some more white to it. And then we're just going to, you know, continue to do some of these little, you know, it's kind of like a backward C and a C. You could do one that's kind of like a rainbow and a smiley face. Just some things like that. And, you know, do more than one. And then we'll get some more white. So we've kind of, you know, done layering on them. So they are going to, you know, each layer has a little bit more interest and like that. Like that. Okay. So I mean, when you do them kind of like this, they kind of resemble, you know, a little bit like roses. Okay. So let's kind of wipe that off some. And then we can do, oh my goodness, we got a big white spot over here. We'll have to fill that. We can fill that in with a leaf. Okay, so now let's get some green. Starting to run out of clean spots here. No, I should have put it over by the brown. I want to add some brown in with this green. So it's not so bright. Ugh, I just stuck my finger in there. Martha, it is. I'm not just making it look that way. It truly is. And that's why I think it is so fun to show people, you know, how they can do this, because, you know, we just have this, I don't know, when as children, kids think they can do anything, right? And somehow as we get older, we lose that. I don't know why, but we do. Well, you know, you do know why. You get people telling you can't do this, you can't do that. And, you know, it just takes a turn over the years until we start telling ourselves that. But as kids, they think they can do anything. Let's see how that looks. I think that'll be okay. So now we're just going to start doing some leaves on here. And I think, I hope that's not too wet. Well, let's actually just start over here. Got my bracelet caught in my apron. Let's just start over here and let's bring this out over here. And I put one down here because I can still see some of these leaves in through here. And I like to turn it this way because I think I can get a better leaf thing when I do this way. So it's almost like doing, you know, like little parentheses, like one way and one the other. And then you just kind of add some, you know, add them. They don't have to be perfect. It's still going to be fun and interesting. I don't know. I think if I had I think a different brush might have been easier, but you know, it's what I've got out. Let's do one over here. Yes, Jet, that's true. Paint brings out our inner child if we just let ourselves play, right? So true. There. So we kind of covered up that hole there. And let's see. Let's do some over here. Let's kind of do another little sprig out here. And you can just, you know, you just put some of these random where you want them. Because really, these are not the star of the show, okay? These are not going to be the star of our show. Let's put another one up in here. Okay, and now, and you can see some of this did not cover all that well. I got some of that yellow showing through, but you know, that's okay because I'm actually going to put a dab of yellow in now anyway. I'm just going to grab a dab of yellow, put that in with our green that we're using now. And we're just going to kind of hit some of these with a little bit on one side. Some of this paint is a little... Good grief, that's just taking the paint off right there. Just kind of put a little bit on there for the yellow. This one needs more paint because it's not covering up that red. I need to let that dry before I try and do that. Boy, I tell you what, you guys. Kind of struggling here. I'm taking off more than I'm putting on, I think. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go back and let's clean this out. Let's put some more red on our... Oh, thank you, Susan. Yes, you just have to get out of your head. You're right. Okay, so let's go back over here. And we want a little bit more of this same color we were using with our brown and our red to make kind of that dark, more of a burgundy color. We'll just mix that up there and go back and... Ah! Oh my goodness. I'm going to have all kinds of crazy splotches on here today. I'll just get some more color on here so it's not so We got a see-through heart. See if we can't fix that a little bit. And this is not uncommon. I mean, there's a lot of paint colors you've got to go over and put another coat on. It's just the way it is. And once we get this, we might, you know, just dab a little bit of, you know, now if you want some places that are a little bit lighter, you don't really necessarily want to, you think you want to add white to it, but that's not always the best solution, because then if you're putting white on it, it's going to turn it pink. Now, if you want to turn it pink, that's okay. But another thing you can do is add just a touch of yellow. And if we add just a touch of yellow into here, it's going to lighten it up a tiny bit. And maybe that's what we're going to put, like more on the top. Like, and that's not enough. Let's see if we can get a difference like this. There we go. It's kind of lightened it up a little bit. Kind of pull it around like that. And you know, you could do a little bit of white if you wanted to, and if you wanted to kind of put a little bit of pink, that would work out fine. Okay, so now up here on these, I'm going to just take a little bit of white. I'm just going to use the corner of my brush, and I'm just going to give it a little squiggle. These, like I said, these really weren't meant to be roses, so we'll just kind of give them a little interesting, you know, fluffy edge for a little bit of interest. That paint is still wet up in there. It's almost like I'm not really adding this as much as I'm almost taking some off. But, you know, put them in different places. Don't make sure they're not all in the exact same place each time. Okay. And, you know, if you were happy with the way it already was, to where it kind of looked like those easy roses, you know, that would be fine too. It's all about, you know, just playing around and having some fun. Okay, so we've got that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take some, I'm going to use my tiny liner brush here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of green and red and get a real dark brown. And this is why you can get by with not doing black. And this is a more natural looking color than using completely black. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to get some of that on our brush, and we're just going to dot it around, like for the center of our flowers. Just like, you know, a little tiny dot. And that one got some white in it. That white is still wet. Almost need more paint. There we go. We got it. I don't want too much of that white on there. But you know, it just makes it look like it has little centers, like little stamens of a flower. Right? There we go. So we got that part done, right? Okay. Now, what else do we have to do? Okay, I might go back and put a little bit more green on these leaves. They're just so, they are also translucent. I have to make up a little bit more of that color. So that was just some green and brown. That's way too much brown. Once you mix it in there though, I mean it really is kind of a, well, you can't even see, sorry. So I'm just adding a little bit of that green and brown. And Let's see if we can't. There we go. Give some of those a little extra coat. There we go. And then you can still take a dab of that yellow and go over it. Oh yeah, that was the one I really had problems with. Okay, so now let's do that again. Let's add a little bit of yellow into there. And just give it a tiny bit. And it just adds a little bit more interest because, you know, nothing is a flat color in nature. I mean, it's got shadows on it. It might have the light hitting it. You know, a leaf would bend and it's just going to look different no matter how you're looking at it, right? And then what you can do is then take a tiny bit of white and add the white in to give it a little bit lighter, and just, you know, give it another little swipe, just a tiny bit. Then you've got even more interest going on. Okay, this one is kind of all right. And you could, you know, take I think I'm gonna go back and do some of this line. There. It got kind of thick, but I think it looks a little bit better. All right, so now on our heart, we're going to use this brown and red color that we were working with. Or no, that wasn't it. Oh, shoot. This red and green. I'm going to make some more red and green here because we're going to make our key and the little lock. And, you know, one of the reasons I thought this would be fun, you know, since it was Valentine's Day and we thought, oh, it'd be fun to kind of do something like this. One of the reasons I thought this would be fun is, you know, it doesn't scream, you know, total romance. I mean, maybe you've got a good friend and, you know, this would be fun to give to somebody like that. So we're going to do a little circle here, just a little circle. And then it's kind of got this little triangle-y part under it. That's our little keyhole. And now our little key, we've got kind of a little heart shape here. So this is just, we're going to put some other layers on, so don't worry about it. You know, the way it looks right now. We're going to draw our straight line across here. And then we're going to make our little key. I don't know the parts of a key, do you? We're going to put that there. And then we're going to add a little bit of an interest. Oh my gosh, you guys, look what I did. I might really have to change this up. I have really gotten paint all over it. Oh, there we go. The bottom is kind of dry enough now. Oh, that's so irritating. Okay, so the lesson from that is make sure that you don't have it all on your hands. Oh my goodness. right, let me wipe it off on my apron. Okay, so here we go. So we've got that. Now I want to make the little key have a little bit of interest, and so we're gonna make like a little bit thicker here and here, like it's got, you know, I don't even know what you would call that, but you know, just so it's a little bit thicker. Kind of, if you could make like little three little loops or something. That's kind of getting big. Let's add some, make this part a little bit bigger. All right. Get enough paint we can see it. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of yellow to this. So it's more kind of a little golden color. And then we're just going to stroke some of that on. Now, for it to be lighter, I don't know if this is light enough yet. I don't think so. I can't hardly see it with my light over here. But we need this to be like, we're going to put a little bit on the inner side of the key hole. That's not quite light enough, but it does. I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to put a tiny bit of white on there. And that's too much. Well, that's not too bad. I'm just going to blend it. That way you can kind of see that. Okay, and now let's go ahead and add that little creamy golden color more onto the key. Just kind of stroke some of that on. Then you've got your dark color underneath there. So you're adding some dimension here. So, you know, you've got your dark. Now we've added a little bit of, you know, this light color on. And then you can add just a tiny bit of white to it. And it doesn't have to be straight white, because that way you can, that's enough. You know, and you can just, if you put a little bit on, then you can always add more. If you get too much, then, you know, it's harder to fix it or, you know, take it away. Just, you know, add along there. Okay, so, you know, it's, I still can't believe I've done that. Oh my goodness. Do I have more on it than a minute ago? I don't even know where I'm getting that from. It wasn't on my hand. That is kind of annoying. Oh well. And, you know, you could, if you wanted to, go back in here and just add, you know, a tiny bit of, like, some tiny red, you know, accents up in there. You could. I just roll a little bit here on my brush, just a tiny bit, and just, you know, kind of, I don't like that. And now I'm sorry I did that. Well, okay, well, this has got a lot of regrets. Okay, so now all we have to do is start adding, let's add a little bit of, and we could put a tiny bit of white on some of these, a little bit more white than we had. You know, just a tiny little stroke. And that's why you can use, you know, your tiny little liner brush. Just adds a little bit more interest, a little bit more depth. But you don't want to, you know, don't do too much. And I got white on myself. I bet, I'm not so sure I didn't pull that from my paint thing over here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to make some larger lines. Now remember, it's just paint, it can be fixed, right? It is just paint. Although these stripey things, I'm not sure what I would do with them, but you know, that is true. And you know, it's not like I have spent copious amounts of money or something on it either, you guys. It's just not that. Oh, I forgot to do, I think that's okay. It's all right, you know, the way that is. And so now you can just do kind of some highlights, you know, like just some other lines for, you know, just some interest. I have got a little hair on here that is sticking out. It is misbehaving on that brush. Maybe just a little one down here. So, you know, these are just kind of random, you guys. These are just a lot of fun. And then you can just put some up in here. And just, you know, just kind of go to town. And actually up in here, you know, they kind of look a little bit like baby's breath or something if you start putting them around the flowers. They're not on any stems, but don't they kind of remind you of that? And you know, just dab them on there. I don't know. Let's see. I think that might do it. But you know, look, it's not that hard, you guys. It's just a fun painting. Oh, thanks, Melanie. You've been checking in on me. Somebody should check in on me sometimes, that's for sure. Thank you, Donna. But there, you know, isn't that fun? I can hardly wait to see what Jeanie does. You know, she does, that's her deal all the time. It's mostly painting. And you know, and did you know that Jeanie also makes jewelry? You know, when she does those paint pours, you know, you have so much paint that comes off when you are doing paint pours, and she lets that dry, and then she uses that and makes jewelry out of them. And so then you've got these wonderful kind of marbled effects and things, and they are so fun. And my daughter loves purple, and I bought her a necklace that Jeanie had made, and it was so funny. I saw a picture of her the other night at a party they had gone to. It was kind of a Mardi Gras theme, and I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, she's got on that necklace too. I think she really liked it, Jeanie. So that's always fun. But oh my goodness, you know, I'm not sure if I can go back and fix all of this messiness or not, but thanks for hanging out with me today. You all, yeah, Melanie says she's got some of Jeanie's jewelry too. That's kind of fun, right? It's fun to have things that our friends have made. I've got several things that, you know, people have made, and it's kind of fun. And now I've had them long enough. Some of them are kind of seasonal, so it's kind of fun to get them out and use them again. I had 2 or 3 things that were more like fall and Halloween, and I thought they were a lot of fun. So, what else you guys got going on today? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mary. What else have you guys got going on today? Anything fun? Let me put your back over here. So, yeah, my time is just almost over. So, I hope you enjoyed that. And like I said, I always urge you to, you know, give painting a little try. If you want one of these, I've got these kits in my Shopify store, though. But you can go over there. It's you can find it through my link tree and my featured things. Do you guys know, I could not figure out why everybody was always saying how their things that were in their featured section on their pages, and I'm like, no, it's not. I can't find any featured things. And then I started realizing that the featured things don't, on my things anyway, they don't necessarily show up. There is a thing that says featured, and you have to click the arrow to go in and see what the featured things are. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just always assumed they showed up at the top of the page, kind of like they do on, you know, when I am looking at my own page. I I'm just like, oh my gosh. Well, I've been able to find all kinds of things I was looking for since I found that out on Facebook. So anyway, Susan says she's going on a dinner date with hubby. Nice, nice. And that was the other reason, you guys, that I wanted to do one of these, was because I thought, you know what, it does, to me, it just doesn't scream, romance, to have to give to the one you love with all your heart. I think it could be a real fun thing to give to a friend. So that was one of the reasons I did it today, because there's all kinds of love in this world, and we've got our friends, we even got our pets, right, for some of us. But whether it's kids, friends, whoever, we always have somebody that we like to think of, and somebody who's special to our heart. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go ahead and go. It's time, and let's go over and see what Jeannie's got on. Thanks.